you do something, do it right, commit to it, find a passion and chase it no matter what. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice, a lot of hours, spent studying, working, but exceed your performance. Just if you go play to win.
This is Gloneration Podcast, conversations around the new generation of global talents and brands. Ciao, I'm your host, Simona Lodolo. Every 2 weeks, together with an international guest, we'll embark on a journey to explore what it means to be a leader in today's ever-connected and constantly evolving world. My guests, managers, entrepreneurs, and stand-up figures from around the globe are shaping the future of culture, economics, and society. Their stories, experiences, and visions are here to inspire the next generation, the Gloneration. Ciao, everyone. Welcome back to this new episode. Today, my guest is a bit different from the others you met in the previous episodes. He's not a manager, not an entrepreneur, but he's definitely a talent, and he's definitely a global one. Nicolò Fatai, airline pilot, and much, much more. Ciao, Nicolò.
Hi, Simona. Thanks for the invite.
I want you to describe your path, your family, your experience.
Absolutely. Once again, thank you again for the invite. My name is Nicolò. You guys can call me Nico. I was born and raised in Milan from a hardworking family. Since I was little, I have had a lot of attention in airplanes, everything that flew. At the age of probably like 8, I bought my first flight simulator for the computer, and everything started from there. And then I took my first flight, and after that, I was 100% sure that I was going to become a pilot. The only one in my family that had that attention to airplanes. After high school, I spent a little bit of time studying English, which is the main language to study all the books and communication that happens in aviation. Right after that, I embarked in this adventure to become an airline pilot. I started in Mallorca, Spain. I lived there for my family. We decided to move in 2008 to change a little bit of lifestyle from a busy city from Milan to move to this paradise island. I took my first flight there in a little flight school. After, the step that you take is to gain the private pilot license, which is just allows you to basically just bring friends with you or flying during the weekend. After that, you have to take more licenses, such as the instrument rating and commercial pilot rating to work for an airline. But the problem that is it was very expensive to continue in Europe. I have another option to go into the United States and finish my training there, which was very cheap. Me and my family, we decided that was the best course of action for me. And on January 2013, with a backpack and pretty much it. That was it. I left everything behind. Not knowing when I was coming back. It was supposed to be maybe like a couple of years. I didn't know that I was never going back, actually. So I arrived in Dallas, Texas in, it was January 2013. I studied for the instrument rating and commercial rating. And after 9 months, I got all my ratings, which was very exciting. That was a big step, to become an airline pilot, getting the license. That was not over because, you arrive at the top of the mountain, but at the same time, you arrived at the beginning of a new mountain, which is building the experience to become an airline pilot. So I started looking for jobs in Texas. And my first job was a skydiving pilot, a jump pilot, we call it. I worked for a couple of companies in East Dallas. One was during the weekend, and the other one was during the weekdays. I was basically bringing up people at 11,000 feet, and they were jumping off the airplane with a parachute. Was going down, go back in. I was doing that the entire season. After that, I became a flying instructor in the same flying school. I was teaching young pilots to become,
You were very young as well, weren't you?
Yes, well, yeah, that's true. I was 23. But looking at like beginners, basically. I was just sharing my passion and teaching them the same thing I learned just a few months ago. And after a year and a half, there was an airline. I applied, passed the interview, and I got a job offer just a few weeks later. And in 2016, March, I started the first day in class to become, it's called type rating. So it's a training specific for type of airplane. That was the CRJ 700. That was the first airline airliner jet that I flew. And then it was summer 2016 that I took my first flight with passengers on the back. And that I finally achieved my long journey just many, many years later.
I get the love for flying, especially if it's a passion. Many kids, I guess, they have this idea. Also because of American movies, they contribute a lot to this to raise this dream. But when you fly with the responsibility for hundreds of life, isn't it scary?
It's it's not scary. It's a job and I'm doing it with a lot of passion. And when I sit there, I'm just doing my job and I don't even notice that I have sometimes, 200 passengers, 172 passengers now on my responsibility, because it became a routinary thing. I think it's the same question like asking to like a bus driver, somebody that drive the bus is pretty much the same thing. It's a job. I guess we felt a little bit of pressure in case of emergency situation. Then you may feel a little bit of pressure, but at the same time, there is that surviving mechanism that if you save yourself, you're gonna save also the passengers on the back.
Yes, there is. I'm very curious about is there a personality trait that you think helped you a lot in pursuing this career?
I would say determination. If I play, I like to win. So if I do something, I'm going to do it well. That's something that also my dad taught me when I was young. If you do something, do it right. Commit to it. I also play like a sport. I think it helped me a lot. It was rugby. Teach me a lot of values in life. Fall down on the ground and you're gonna have always somebody there to help you out, and then you gotta get up and do the same thing for your teammates. Yeah, so that's I think rugby.
Were you playing here or also when
I played since I was 6. My dad used to play, my grandpa used to play, so I was kind of also committed to play. But I didn't like it at the beginning, but then it became part of me. I still play sometimes. I would say, even though I shouldn't. It's a bad idea, but it's something that I cannot help. I grew up playing and I'm going to keep playing.
As a pilot, do you need to train also physically apart from all the technical and the knowledge training?
Health, it's a big topic for us pilots, because we have a medical certificate that we have to maintain. For us, there is 1,000 of medical condition that will just take away that medical license and will stop us from flying. So it's really important if anybody is listening and wants to become a pilot, to take your health very seriously. Even if you're not, honestly, because come on, we want to live longer, especially nowadays we live in an environment that we're always stressed out, we're always on the go, and we kind of forget about ourselves. So take your time to exercise, eating well. Our job it's such a routine job, and trying to make that part of your life routine. That's mandatory. You have to work out. You have to eat well, healthy, because it's your job also.
Yeah, but do you have a specific training, or you do your training by yourself?
No, there is no specific training. Myself, I'm hybrid, so I'm trying to do everything: lift weights, go for long runs, swimming. So
isn't it difficult with the schedules, the crazy schedule that I guess from time to time you might have?
Absolutely, yeah, it's really hard, especially for I guess a young pilot like me. The schedule can be kind of crazy sometimes, but there is 24 hours in the day, 8 hours we sleep. Maybe we fly like a long day, but you can always find that 30 minutes, 45 minutes to do it. There is also has to be a lot of self-discipline, trying not to find too much excuses. When you come back from a long day to the hotel, I always go to the gym. Unless it's like late at night, then I'll go the next day in the morning. It's part of the routine. I have to do it. Even if I'm tired, I've been flying like 7-8 hours for like a duty period, like 14 hours. There is no excuses. I gotta go.
I think as soon as you become a little bit older, like myself, I think discipline and keeping the discipline of doing even just as you said, half an hour. You find so many excuses not to do that.
Yes,
so
I know.
Keep going. Is there something that you said goodbye to when you decided to be an international pilot?
When I left that morning of January 2013, I left everybody. I left my family, left my friends. I didn't know I left them. But yeah, I left everybody behind. Not knowing I was going back, it was hard. I missed a lot of birthdays with my brothers, my mom and dad. I can even tell. I don't think I ever celebrated my mom's birthday and my dad's birthday since I left. That's kind of sad. It's actually embarrassing, but it's sacrifice. It's what it takes, unfortunately.
Your parents and your family, no? You have also brothers and sisters. Were they supporting you in this career?
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. They never push me too much. They never drag me too much. So try, be realistic. They never pump me up too much. But yeah, they always support me, and I own my mom and dad everything. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it because who has that kind of money when you're like 19? I own them everything, and if I wouldn't be for them, I would probably be here today.
That's a very nice message. I think in global careers, parents and family in general have a crucial role in supporting.
Absolutely.
Because if you have a family that never supported you or just put little doubts on what you do, every time you fall, because this is something that we all share, we fall in our career, then you have this voice telling you, see, I told you, you should have done something different. So I think this is a very nice thing. Are there any common myths about your job or your industry?
A lot of myths. I don't even know where to start. Well, one of the myths that I probably would say is the most common, it's people thinking that pilots make a lot of money. We don't. We don't, especially at the beginning. I think now, because of the situation that has been created by the major airlines, there is a big shortage, especially here in the US. I think all around the world.
Yes.
Now, because of the demand, it's high. Now the salary has been increased. But before, it made me think at the beginning if I took the right career. But as I said, now things are different. There is new contract. Demand is still high, which I'm happy, for everybody who doesn't have to go through what I have been through for many years.
Do you have to queue when you travel by yourself and maybe your family, or like for diplomats, you don't?
That's a great question. So when we are on duty, when we're working, we can skip the line in case we're deadheading. We call it deadheading. It's when the airline is repositioning a crew member from a place to another. And we can get on board before everybody because you're working, you want to be rested, and the airline understands that. So they let you go through. Also, that works in case we come back from an international destination, such as, I don't know, like Mexico or something. We came back to the US. We don't have to do those long lines for immigration. There is a specific lines for crew members we go through because that's really important for us because you might be done flying, you might go home, but for us, there's another flight to take. We cannot be late. We have like 45 minutes, an hour. We got to pass immigration quick, recheck, go through security again and start looking for the gate, sit down, prepare a new flight. So for us, it's very important to expedite the process.
Okay.
Now, if you're not on duty, that's if you're flying with family and stuff, at the airport, if that's your base, sometimes you have like a check-in area for crew members or like employees. That's the only thing. But the rest is like as you're flying like a normal passenger, I would say.
And when you fly as a passenger, what is the things that you hate the most?
Oh, everything. I don't like flying as a passenger. Nowadays, especially, it's awful. I mean, the lines are long, the seats are small. I don't like it. I prefer to be up front. I prefer flying the airplane. That's the best seat.
Have you ever judged another pilot being on the other side of the cockpit? I mean, when you were flying, not as a pilot, as a traveler, have you ever thought, oh, this pilot is really, really bad?
Oh, never. No. It's hard to understand what's going on in there, but just looking outside of the window, So no, that never happened.
And I hated, and this happened to me quite frequently, especially before COVID, flying from China back to Europe, when there are big changes. Maybe you just took off and then something happened, you don't know what, and then the plane comes back to the origin city, and nobody communicate with you. You have hundreds of very angry people aboard, and nobody communicates. Is it the pilot that must do that?
Absolutely. The captain is in charge to communicate from the cockpit what's going on, because he's the one in charge of the entire airplane and needs to communicate to the passenger, because, as you said, those are also clients. That's crucial. I mean, people get scared too. I mean, if you're taking off and then you come back around, they want to know what's going on. And that's really important to maintain a communication, to keep everybody calm. It's really important to communicate what's going on. Don't be too precise, of course, because there is some technicality that people don't understand. Don't be too dramatic, because you got to find that perfect tuning of communication. But it's important. Even when you're pushing out of the gate and maybe there is a line in front of you, and before you're moving, there is going to be at least, like 15, 20 minutes. If you don't say that to the passenger, they're going to think something's going on. Why we're not moving? We just push back. Why? Well, what's going on? So it's nice to have, hey, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain speaking. There is like a few airplanes in front of us. It's going to take a little bit, of time, maybe like 15, 20 minutes before we start moving. Thank you for your patience. It takes like 10 seconds.
People makes appreciate a huge difference. Yes, people appreciate that time. Yes. It was the first and only time that I was upgraded.
Oh, no.
But at least give a little bit of the picture of what they should expect.
Exactly. I agree. Yes.
Do you think that different airlines from different countries might have a different thinking around the communication with passengers?
Well, yeah, of course. Specific airlines might have different procedures, but I think the best way to do it is establish the communication with the passenger, as you say, clients, especially in situations that there are not normal, like going back to the airport. Maybe you want to say something,
When you don't know, you fill in the gap with whatever. As an Italian, do you think that this helped you in your career?
No, I mean, there is no distinguish of where you're from, what language you speak, color of your skin. It's you gotta gain it. It doesn't matter. They don't look at you like if you're Italian or wherever you're from. So I don't think it helped me.
Did your being global change the way you are somehow?
Well, I'm happy that I lived somewhere else that wasn't my home, which was Milan. I get to know a lot of people from all over the world in Palma. There was a big expat community. Also playing rugby with Australian, New Zealand, Chinese. We played with everybody. It was really cool to see the different cultures. So I think that will help me.
What are the 3 characteristics or skills that you think are crucial for this kind of career?
That's a good question. The first one would be knowledgeable. A good pilot never stop learning. Try to overstudy, and try to pass the standards. The second one, I would say, be adaptable. Try to adapt yourself with the environment that's around you. That also will help you out, not only to be a pilot, but in life. And last one, the most important, is to be humble. Stay humble. Good pilots are humble. Good pilots are approachable, and good pilots are knowledgeable. But the humbleness, it makes you see other people that are maybe not working the same position as you, at the same level. That's when you can learn from somebody.
And 3 that you think are disadvantages. So you suggest our audience not to have to become an international pilot.
Well, if you don't like traveling, if you don't like having like a schedule fixed every month, that's probably it's enough for you. Also, if you don't like being told what you're supposed to do, that's also something that is not for you. And if you don't like working with other people, with a close environment, I would say it's not for you.
What about multicultural approach? Of course, you have passengers from all over the world, but also you work with crews that have different origins. Is it difficult for you to adapt to cues from different part of the world?
No, not really. I got used to it because, as I said, one of the skill that always applies to be a chameleon, be adaptable, basically. I just like to fly with new people, learning where they're from, where they learn to study, to become an airline pilot. I think it's cool just to learn new things, and I like it. I like it a lot.
You recently published something about air control, especially the lack of people. And am I right? I also was hearing some of the messages that you were showing and sharing with your listeners in your. It was your, I think, YouTube account,
yes.
The Italian Pilot. We will talk about this. And I cannot understand a word. How did you get used and how do you get to understand what they say?
Oh, I know. You just get used to it. I know it's hard. Some controllers speak slower or faster than others, but the phraseology, the way you build the phrase to communicate with ATC and ATC to pilots is the same. So it becomes very routinary, just like I said before. So it's not that hard at the end.
If I was in your shoes, it was like, can you repeat? Say it again, say it again. Like, yes, it's crazy. I cannot understand a word, really. It's very tough. So, one of the biggest challenges in your career, can you share with our audience?
One of the biggest challenges, I think, was just English was my biggest challenge, I would say. I wasn't very good at school, but I got lucky. Then I found the woman of my life. She was from Chicago, but I met her when I was in Spain. That helped me a lot, just staying in contact with her, practicing. And she's an elementary school teacher, so she basically taught me everything that I was saying wrong. She corrected me too. She was very precise, so I had to thank her if I can speak English today properly. English probably was the biggest challenge.
The funniest and the scariest experience that you had in this 15 years of career of yours?
Yeah.
Is it 15?
I'm 32. I started flying when I was 18. That's 14 years.
Too young.
Yes, I know.
You really represent the generation, so the new generation of global talent.
Thank you.
Nico.
Thank you. The funniest and the scariest. The scariest was when I was a jump pilot for this skydiving company. I had like a scary accident. My first day of work, the windshield of the airplane became obscured by oil because I didn't tie it properly, the oil cap of the engine. And after takeoff, basically, I didn't have any visibility. It was pretty much a dark spot in front of my windshield. It was my first job, my first flying job. First day, very nerve-wracking, but I was able to come back to land, sticking my head out of the airplane. That wasn't fun. Yeah, that was scary. That's when I learned to close very well the oil cap that day.
Wow, such a terrible first day.
Yeah, I mean, it was traumatic. I wasn't expecting that to be my first day. I was shocked. Well, actually, the funniest part was that when I landed, the owner of the company came with the car. The gate open of the airport. He comes in with the car. He didn't say anything to me. He started looking at the airplane, probably worried about his airplane. And then, he looked at me and said, "Did you land like that?" I still remember the picture in my mind of the windshield. It was completely like, if you pull black tape all over, it was like completely dark. I said, "Yeah, I landed." I was able, thankfully. I was a part-time pilot, supposedly, right? Weekends only. And after that, he looked at me and said, "You're going to be my full-time pilot now." So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. I guess he was so impressed. I was hoping I was getting fired. I didn't want to fly anymore that day, but because I was shocked. And I continued. I did 2 or 3 more flights after that, which was very stupid now looking back because I wasn't myself. But yeah, I came back. One piece.
And you're still here.
And I'm still here
to share this. Now, I love this story of yours because this is something that in America is an highlight of the country. So regardless the risk of the failing,
Absolutely.
Philosophy is totally different. I mean, would you say that if you were in Italy, would it have been the same?
I'll be done. I'll be fired. Yes, completely different. Yes.
That's totally different. This is something that I love of America, because you have to try, and then you fail. It's okay. You're still here. You react.
I guess he really liked the performance, my performance from that day.
And the funniest.
The funniest? Yeah. Well, there was one time that I was making a PA, the prepare for landing PA, and I forgot to turn off the intercom to talk to the passengers. And air controller asked us if we could make the turn to the runway, or we need a little more space. And I look outside of the window and we're too high. And I said, I don't think we're going to make it. But that transmitted on the... I transmitted on the back of the airplane. And that was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, but I think this is
there's a small mistakes. Yeah, that could happen. You do it once and you never do it again. You're always making sure that the intercom is off.
How did you repair to that? Did you explain something?
No. Look, most of the time the passengers have, you're listening to music, and they don't really listen what you're saying most of the time.
Or watching TV.
Yeah, they're doing anything except listening to us. Except when the airplane is not moving or doing something that's out of the normal. Then they're listening to you.
Yeah. You're right. That's a good point on your favor. Yeah,
and I guess nowadays it's still pretty funny.
Oh, if not your career, what other things or other career would you have done?
Oh, I don't know. Probably going back making pizzas at my family restaurants. That's what I used to do. Be a waiter, managing the restaurant of my family, probably. Like my brothers are doing right now.
Do you do it sometimes when you go back?
Yeah, I like to help. My mom and dad are getting old. They're trying to retire, but when you own a restaurant, the restaurant owns you. 6 days a week, 1 day off. It's hard.
Yes, I think their schedule is even worse than yours.
Yes, much worse.
And no holidays.
No holidays.
If you could invite 3 people to a flight of yours, maybe a small one, not one of this big commercial that you're doing now, who would they be, and which route or destination?
Oh, that's easy. I invite my mom and dad, my wife. She never came with me flying because she was always busy taking care of stuff at home.
Really?
Yes, and I will just take them somewhere warm, maybe like Costa Rica, Cancun, somewhere warm and fun.
That's cool. As you could have said any VIP, but this is very Italian from you.
Family first.
I love it. Apart from being a pilot, you're also an influencer, because you're known like the Italian pilot. You have thousands of followers on your Instagram and YouTube accounts. When did you start to think, why don't I share my knowledge, my experience to my fellow Italian?
Yeah, exactly, for the fellow Italians. I follow a lot of people on Instagram and YouTube that are kind of like me, sharing their experience, their life as an airline pilot. But then one day I started to say, why? I mean, I want to see what an Italian pilot life is doing. Then I started researching. There is not many. Actually, there is none. You know what? I'm good at the computer. I always wanted to share stuff because I want to create also a community of people that loves aviation. So I just did it. One day I just try, and the first month was quiet, and all of a sudden there was a lot of people finding more interested, and it drive me to produce more content, more specific content, simple content that people don't know about aviation. I think that was my secret. That is my secret recipe.
Yes, I follow you, and it's very interesting. And you're also a host because you have a podcast yourself.
Yeah, I try when I have time. The problem is having time. I have a lot of ideas in my mind, but I don't ever have much time, unfortunately, to do. Because when I'm home, I have 2 kids, and I don't like having to do more stuff because I'm already gone a lot. I don't want to work on something that I'm doing it for fun at the end. It's a hobby.
But I think it's very important to create a culture around what you do.
Absolutely.
To educate people, by giving information, what we were discussing earlier. I think as soon as you know more, you travel more confident compared to if you don't. But what is your company saying? What are your colleagues saying about this influencer career of yours?
My colleagues like it. Actually, there is an Italian pilot community in my company, and they find out that I had this account through their friends in Italy, and they're like, "Oh, I know him. He's flying for the same company." I mean, it was fun. They like it. They say doing great job.
You never do any video with them, with other pilots or flight attendant. Is it because of the language?
Well, yeah. One of the things that I decided when I opened this account is to do everything in Italian. So if I invite somebody in the podcast to do like a live or do anything, it has to be in Italian, because that's the majority of the people are following me. It's because of that, because they want everything in Italian.
You were also a teacher, an instructor.
I was.
At the very beginning of your career. We have a thing in Gloneration, which is the Gloneration Masterclass. Let's suppose we start a masterclass on how to become a global talent and a pilot in a commercial airline like you. As a professor, what subject would you teach?
I guess one of my favorite things to teach was meteorology. Yes, the weather. I just like it. I like that. It's very fascinating how the weather forms, the pattern that follows. That's something I would teach.
And something that you judge crucial for global talents, not only pilot.
Maybe just sharing my story will probably inspire more people, like giving an example of what it takes to achieve your dream and all the sacrifice and stuff. Maybe it could be like a lesson, just my story.
Now our Gloneration game, I would mention some skills, life skills or areas, and you need to define yourself global or local. And by local, you can also mention either American or Italian or wherever else you think. For example, food, global or local?
Global.
Education?
Global.
Sport?
Global.
Creativity?
Global.
Family?
So if I'd say local, it's probably Italy. Yes. I would say local this time.
Art and culture?
Global.
Beauty or appearance?
They do say I look Italian.
They do.
Yes.
Design?
Italian.
Music?
Global.
Movies?
Global. American, the best.
I was like, oh, come on.
Yes, American.
Any answer with American is very weird. Holidays or destinations?
Destinations are global.
Time management?
Global.
Problem solving?
Global.
Empathy?
Global.
Emotional intelligence?
Global.
Leadership style?
Global.
Strategic thinking?
Global.
Last. Team management?
Global, absolutely.
I profit by these last few elements. As a pilot, so what kind of leadership style do you prefer to have?
A leader that leads by example, giving a good example. And for a pilot, is following the procedure, be respectful, listening, communicating, and be humble.
What is the hardest part of leading the crew?
So you're not leading just the crew. You're leading the ground personnel, the gate agent, dispatcher. So you're communicating. You're like a dot. There is like a lot of like arrows pointing at you, because the communication, those are the arrows of communication. And then you have to communicate with passengers, flight attendants, your co-pilot, the people downstairs that are putting the bags in there, ground personnel, company, they call it the airline. You have to manage everything. So you're like the orchestra director, I would say, like that.
Yes, which is not easy at all.
No, there are days that are easy, and some days that, of course, they're hard.
What is next for you, Nico?
That's a great question. I don't know. Every year I start new project. This year I start this Italian pilot account. Last year I learned to play the piano. Next year, I don't know. It's a surprise, I think. I still got a month to think about. I have so many things I wanna do. Maybe write a book, or maybe something with fitness too. I have to think about it. I'm not sure yet.
Since you're very successful in this, also some training or how to cook, recipes to keep fit as a pilot.
Yes, why not? That's a good idea.
A good idea.
Yes.
Do you prepare your own meal, or is your wife?
We alternate, because when I'm gone for like 4 days, sometimes she's tired. But I can cook. I grew up in restaurants, like I said before, so I can cook. Usually Americans, they go out a lot, as you probably know. But we try to cook as much as we can at home because I think it's just healthy and also cheap. For us Italians, especially, it's not about cheap. It's I get upset when I go to a restaurant. They say they're Italians, and you pay like $40 for a meal, and then it's everything but Italian.
The very last questions, Nico, because you have kids, 2 kids, right?
Yes.
So you are part of the Gloneration, but they will be for sure, no? Because they are the future. So which suggestions would you tell your kids to develop their global talent?
To find something that they like. Also, to try a lot of things. We live in this culture, especially in the US, that, after 18, after high school, you gotta already know what you want to do, what you want to be when you grow up. I'd say just from 20-year-old until you're 30, try new things, try different paths, find a passion and chase it, no matter what. It's gonna take a lot of sacrifice, a lot of hours, spent studying, working, and also, as I said before, exceed your performance. Just if you go play to win. I think that's how you be successful in life.
This is an injection of positivity and energy. So Thank you so much, Nicolò.
Of course. Thank you, Simona.
It has been a very nice sharing, and I'm sure that the Gloneration audience, they are already dreaming about a career like yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
If you want to know more about Nicolò, you can find more on our website, gloneration.com. We are at the greeting, guys. Do you know anyone who dreams about a career like the one of Nicolò? Then, what better idea than sharing the episode? Do it now. Thank you very much for listening, following, and supporting the Gloneration with me. See you in 2 weeks. Ciao!